Well, last episode, we unpacked the next level leadership tool of the ideal team player, and we explored the three virtues that make up the ideal team player. And again, those virtues are humble, hungry, and smart. Today, we're going to dive in further to our April leadership topic, which is the ideal team player, as well as unpack our second priority of 2025 of Carlos's top three priorities, which is that of innovation, one of your favorite topics. So with me today, again, is our fearless leader, Carlos Morales. Carlos, how you doing today?
Fantastic. The same as last podcast, actually. Doing great. Another wonderful day.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, each week we're going to give our listeners an opportunity to get to know you a little better through some icebreakers, and we'll cover a fun question and then kind of an industry-related question. So let's start with the fun one. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your phone, what would those apps, or what apps would you keep?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I have so many I don't use also. So I would keep messages. You debate between, I guess, messages or phone and some type of communication. Use texting more, right? Mm-hmm. So messages for sure. Mail, right? Because it just seems like my life exists through email, both professionally, personal, all kinds of things. Still another method of communication, which is the purpose of having what phones were built for. Right now, it's for everything. So if I can get into a fun one, it would probably be the Nike sneakers app. My wife would highly disagree with that. But I think, as it's been stated, many know I love sneakers, certainly Nikes, and certainly, if you get specific, the Jordan 1 lows, right? Starting to wear more at work, certainly with slacks, wear them out socially, and I'm just starting to collect more, try to get on releases. That app, they will have, I guess, small inventory releases, upcoming things that are coming, new, innovative type stuff, but then also kind of hard to get stuff. So I don't always win, but that's kind of the in to that. So I'd have to keep that one.
Sneakers app. Speaking of sneakers, and you said you wear them at work, David wants you to show what you're wearing today. So
I don't know how I'm
pull it
gonna get
off,
on there.
or I don't think you're flexible enough to. But
We could try it. I got these ones on today.
Can you see that, David?
Those
are cool. Kind of the Caprock blue.
I could have stretched, David. You could have let me know. I would have gotten ready for that.
Carlos has torn his groin. The episode will continue.
See, we got good therapists that can help me.
That's right. That's good. So the sneakers app, messages.
So, yeah, I think I'd have to keep
email.
a fun one. Honestly, it would be great to get rid of all social media. I think it'd just be positive. Across the board, certainly for me. So I think I'd hold on to that one because I'm in that one quite often.
Yeah, we'll have to check out the sneakers app. That was awesome. Not to tell on you, but I know, and Cassie probably watches this or listens to this podcast, but Carlos has become such a sneakerhead. Can I share this?
Sure.
Yeah. That he started having some of his special delivery unreleased shoes shipped to his office instead of home. So Cassie, know that Carlos is feeding his habit. You may just not see all the shoes.
She sees
some
them.
of them are coming to work.
I just don't want them stolen off of the,
that's
the porch.
What it is. Yeah.
Left on the porch and stolen, but she sees them.
More dependable delivery.
That's right. That's right.
That's the reason. Okay. Well, let's get industry specific now, and this question will tie into really our main portion of today's episode. How do you see the home health industry evolving in the next 5 or 10 years?
So, in so many ways. But one of the reasons I chose innovation now, right, because it's heading that way. It's been going that way. We're not necessarily playing catch up, but we have to make sure we have a focus on it. So I think technology plays a huge role, right? It's already playing a huge role in home health. The opportunities are fairly limited, but they're expanding, right? So telehealth practices in, I think, establishing patients. Certainly getting, verbals or approvals from the doctors, regulation to limit that. They are expanding. They are growing. I know they became big into support and operations when COVID hit. And some things have stayed. Some things are being threatened to go away. I think that's the opposite move that needs to happen. But I also see technology playing a larger role, right? We met with an interesting company on set, and they have a product, Tableau, which is an in-home dialysis machine. So we're exploring the opportunity in a role that we could potentially play with that, but we know that's a huge need for a lot of our patients, but not just ours, right? A lot of patients that go to dialysis, there's problems with transportation, waiting on it, problems with trying to balance schedules because it takes so much time. I think this will help a ton. So we want to learn more about that. Tech players are moving in, so you can tell like Best Buy. I think Walgreens not so much maybe tech, but big tech and retail companies coming in to maybe not disrupt, but to add options right in the home. And then AI. Everybody says they're doing AI. Half the people that are saying it's AI is not really, but also I don't really know what that means, right? And so we're still learning that, and that's coming into play. So AI is still an unknown, right? It's still coming in. There's pieces I think it's certainly going to help from efficiency and operation. I don't see how it's ever going to replace people. There's fears out there, there's support out there. We're still learning it, so that's going to play a big role. That's probably one of the most unknown, but it shows that things are advancing, right, to technology that we need to stay ahead of, stay on top of, and learn our role, and also learn what we need to get prepared for. One of the things that's helping to shape, I think, even the structure of home health is a program called Hospital at Home, right? So there's pilot programs across the country right now. As much as we've learned about it, there's it's still not final, right? It's going to be, I think, a complete reimbursement model structure change. I think it's going to help push patients out of the hospital sooner that are allowed to go home, but give them a little bit more intensive care in the transition, right, to home health, or what the next step is. Ideally, I think as it's set up right now, it's a 3-day process. So from discharge from the hospital, 3 days of intense oversight from physician oversight, nursing, therapy, right, as needed, nutrition services, caregiving, remote patient monitoring, all of the things. As we understand now, there's a list of what's expected to happen in timeframes. It's not final. Looking to either pass it as a bill to advance the process of it, or if you go through CMS, right, as a reimbursement structure, it's going to take a little bit longer. Doing it with the insurance companies, who knows? But we're trying to learn as much as possible, and our goal is to be the one-stop shop for a hospital. So bring everything we can to operations in the home, with the exceptions of what they have to oversee. So that's what we're advancing now, and so technology will play a big piece of that, but then also stronger partnerships, collaborations, enforced. I would think, sad to say, but forced care team collaborations, so we'd have better communication. So hopefully that piece is going to get better, but there's going to be a lot more things pushed to the home, right? So we need to get prepared to understand where we sit, and then just the overall unexpected that's going to come when this growing aging population starts, right, to have the need for healthcare, and certainly in the home. When they start to come in the masses, they're starting to, as far as budget support, right, as far as being prepared in care and having the availability of staff and caregivers, that's going to be a challenge. So reimbursement model changes right now. Obviously, they're trying to control it. They certainly want quality to sit in place, but patients and their family demands are only going to grow, right? As people want to stay home, as that population expands and grows, so do the demands, so do the personalities and expectations. So we're going to have to get better at navigating those waters as well, while still operating in the limitations that we may have, right, based upon care plans and reimbursement models. And then, of course, we're going to be facing staffing issues, already doing it now. So it's going to be interesting. So it's hard to say where we're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And certainly as legislation actions change, as the tides change and leadership changes, so do regulations, so do direction and budget demands, and we're seeing that now. So as much as we want to prepare for the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be really hard. But if we embed ourselves in the technology and understanding how we can play a stronger role and be a better community partner for those that are looking to place patients, the better we're going to be positioned.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Tech and AI are going to be critical components.
Absolutely.
We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I saw one major CEO, I think it was of Shopify this last week, is mandating that all of their employees begin to get proficient with AI. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good charge for our staff, too, that if you're uncomfortable with technology, that's okay, but it's not too late to start learning about it, learn how the human side of it's always going to be there, but we're going to have to learn to embrace more technology. AI is not going away, so that's just going to be part of it. like you said, I think they call it the silver tsunami is
Mm-hmm.
coming. The baby boomers are starting to age to a point where they're going to need our services.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of how's that going to be paid for, and we've got to be ready.
We got to be ready for it. People are going to want to stay at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to want to stay at home
Yeah.
and get as much care as possible, if not get home as quick as possible. And like I said, advances in technology, advances in models, and just collaboration to create new support systems, we can allow that. And we can do it better than we're doing it today, right? And so it's looking forward to that and understanding how we can create that value.
Yep. And that's part of our mission is we want people to age with dignity in their home. There truly is no place like home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk some industry updates real quick. As this episode airs, we'll be having Victoria Caron and Shannon Steiglater, both admins for us, advocating for us in Washington, D.C., which is really quite amazing.
Absolutely. We're proud of you ladies for doing that. That's not an easy task.
Yeah.
It's not, but I know that Shannon loves it. I think it's becoming kind of certainly a focus and a niche for her, right? And Victoria has every desire to learn how to make that impact, and so we're proud to have those ladies there representing us, not only as CapRec but also the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge kudos to you ladies for stepping out of your comfort zone. We've talked on past episodes, and we're going to continue to talk about the theme of advocacy in home care. And so really impressive that you two ladies are doing it. Thank you all for doing that. And we'll be having Victoria and Shannon on some future episodes once they return from D.C. to kind of unpack what they learned and some key takeaways. So looking forward to that. Carlos, why do you feel it's important to advocate and lobby, not only at the state level, but also at the national level, just like these two ladies have been doing?
If there's any simple answer, it's purely to create awareness, right? To provide education. All these legislators, representatives of our area, they have not only the obligation, right, to support the needs of their constituents, I think is the correct terminology, in the area that they represent. But when you get to a national level, you're also talking about not only your state, but having an impact across the entire nation, right? We're all under one, I guess, designation as a country, and so we should take it as such. And we don't. We operate in Texas. We don't operate in other companies, but we do have Medicare, which is a national program, and we depend on its success, and we depend on change to empower and enhance our ability to continue to provide these practices. And I think our legislators and representatives, they don't know how to advocate or what to advocate for if we don't bring it to them. So I think that is an expectation that is their duty, but they want you, right, to hear it. And the hustle and the bustle, I think, of any lobbying opportunity, you can get lost in it, but I think there's a huge thing in the phrase, there's power in numbers. The more they hear from you, the more stories you tell, the more impact that you have on them, the greater the opportunities are for them to get behind your mission and your push, right? Where everybody's always asking for money, and everybody's money is important to them based upon their industry, based upon their need, and we need to make sure that we make our voice heard and our presence heard. So going in with knowledge, going in with stories, going in with experience, educating these legislators, making them understand our perspective and the importance of what we're fighting for only helps, right, them to get behind us and push our needs, push these bills, push our requests. So it's important to get out there and let them know who you are and what you're fighting for. They'll get emails all day. They have staff that go through those. And again, those are important. Phone calls, those add to the numbers. Those certainly add to the importance of your voice. But going out and lobbying and advocating for your industry does make an impact. So proud those ladies are doing it. That's something I need to get better at. I've done it at the state level a couple of times. I have not gone to Washington, so they went with TAC at the March on Washington. And there's quite a few people there that can make an impact, and I think that's something I need to get more involved in as well, right, to make my voice heard. But it's fantastic to have these ladies go out and do that, knowing that they're supporting not only us, but for the patients and for this industry. So it's extremely important. And even though some people might not think that they listen or they hear, they won't unless you're consistent with it. Yeah. And they won't unless you do it in masses. So the more people, the better.
Yeah. And if we don't do it, then other lobby groups and interest groups are going to be the ones who
You'll
get
get
their
overshadowed.
voices heard and
Absolutely.
forgotten. So, yeah, and we'll talk about that more in future episodes, just how everybody can be an advocate to some degree, whether it's marching on Washington or it can be as simple as filling out a little survey that, like you said, hits their inbox. And the more they hear from us, the better. So
Absolutely.
multiple ways to be an advocate. Well, let's give a quick shout out. We always like to tell a patient success story, give a kudos to one of our staff members. Today's kudos goes to Wichita Falls. We had a client in Wichita Falls call the corporate office a few weeks ago, and they wanted to brag on the team there to say how impressed this individual has been with the care he received. He's a recipient of our caregiver services, and he specifically named one of our attendants there named Tony, and also Miriam Sellers there in our Wichita Falls office. She's one of our amazing client care supervisors. This gentleman said he's been with 3 different home health agencies in the last 3 years, and Caprock, by far and away, is the best. So I just thought that was amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tony and Miriam.
Yeah, so awesome. And yeah, unfortunately, it's rare to hear the good stuff. So when we do, man, we've got to celebrate that and acknowledge it. So yeah, nice work to the Wichita Falls team, and way to take great care of the clients we serve in the area. Well, let's get into the ideal team player a little bit more. We unpacked that last episode. And again, this toolkit that we're covering is part of our 2025 priority of next level leadership, which we talked about last episode. And it's aimed at providing a monthly tool for our team members to learn about and apply to their personal leadership journey, as well as the team they're a part of. And April's tool that we're learning about company-wide is this ideal team player, which again is based off a book by one of our favorite thought leaders of Patrick Lencioni. And the ideal team player introduces a framework for identifying and developing great team members. And the main components of being a great team member are these 3 virtues of being humble, hungry, and smart. And so, Carlos, we encouraged people last time to take this ideal team player assessment, and it's a free, simple online assessment from the Table Group. It's at tablegroup.com, and we'll put that link on the episode video, and we'll include it in our show notes too. But it's really a simple tool that they can take in about 5 minutes, and it helps you identify where you are on these 3 virtues of humble, hungry, and smart. So as we talk about that, Carlos, maybe give us a little bit of just high-level takeaways from your assessment. What did you learn?
So the questions were easy, right? It only took a few minutes, and I, as we talked about last time, I love taking these just to give you perspective of kind of where you're at. You can gauge your interest on the results. You can toss it. You can hold on to it, and evaluate it to make any changes or focus on what you're doing. And so I took this and got it back. And so if I can kind of go by, I guess I go by each one. So the first one, humble, right? And so I got a score of 15. Don't really know what that means. However, it puts me in the medium category. And as much as I want to be in the high category, as maybe I thought I was, maybe I'm not, right? Maybe there's always work to be done, and certainly in that category. And I want to be able to pride myself on humility. I talked about, I think even said last time, everybody has a certain level of ego. That's just understood. But I never wanted to get in the way, and I never want to encompass or become a negative characteristic of me. And I think humility is how you combat that, right? And so I like to practice that, but I think there's ways I need to get better. So humility is not even also just about yourself, but it's recognizing others. And so maybe that's an area I need to continue to improve, right? Praises and kudos, making sure that's understood. That's certainly an area that I know I want to improve in. So maybe that'd be a key piece here, so I can get into that high score. The hungry. So on the hungry score, I got a score of 18, which puts me in the high category. I feel like that's very suiting. Right? I'm always wanting to know what's next. I'm always wanting to learn from the team. I'm always wanting our entire team to bring what's better, help bring what's next, and go and chase it. Right? I want to establish relevancy for our company. So it's whatever got us here through the first 40 years, 42 years, will not get us through the next. So how do we stay relevant? How do we continue to break through barriers, bring value, and adapt to the changes? And so I'm always learning and always wanting to know how to do that. So that was the only one I scored high on. And then smart, I got a score of 16, which is medium. So I guess I'm not that smart. But in reality, the questions right on here, so the reports, and I believe as you can see, even down in the categories, it'll let you know all the questions within that category and how you scored. So it makes it very easy to reflect upon and maybe put some thought behind this, more thoughts, and question how you answered these. So I'm going to go back and look at those, certainly all of them, but the areas where I'm medium, let's look at it, look at the questions, and think deeper about that.
Yeah.
So I want to be green on all, and I'm going to chase that because
Yeah.
I think that obviously makes me an ideal team player. And if anybody, I need to certainly look to set that example. So I'm going to put some work into evaluating this a little bit further and looking into myself.
It's great. Well, again, it's a highly useful tool.
Very.
Takes minimal time. It's free. And I know there's different theories out there on should you work on your strengths, develop your weaknesses. I think this model provides a good approach to kind of do both.
Yep.
And it's encouraging to know as our fearless leader, you don't lack the hunger, the drive.
Absolutely.
And I think for you, cultivating that strength even further, and that ties into our core value of empowerment. You're really great at empowering people to go get it, go create the next opportunity for Caprock. So glad you've got the drive. You're creating that in other people. So that's really important. And yeah, you didn't score low on any of them. So that's encouraging.
So
You're a pretty
I'm happy
well-rounded
about
team
that.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that. But I want to be at the top of all of them. So
That's that drive.
we'll work on them. That's right.
Yeah. Well, for our Caprock team, take the time this month individually and with your respective team to learn more about what makes up an ideal team player and how you can develop yourself in these three critical areas. It'll lead to some really just great discussions amongst your team and hopefully give you some practical insights onto how you can become a better team player. Let's get into our main topic for today's episode, priority number 2, which is that of innovation. Carlos, we talked about next level leadership. We're going to look at innovation today, and then our third priority is that of extreme ownership. Last episode, we unpacked next level leadership and discussed really why that's important as a leader, how we're all leaders, number one, but why it's important to continue to grow as a leader. But today I want to look at that number 2 priority, which is innovation. So tell us a little bit about why you chose innovation as that second priority.
So innovation to me is supporting a culture of creativity, right? Experimentation. Don't be scared to fail, but as long as you're chasing improvement, or as long as you're chasing greatness, whatever word you want to put in there, I think innovation is really focusing on how to continue to do things better, but understanding the industry, understanding what you're chasing, and knowing what your position or desired position is in that future. And if you're not there yet, you don't need to wait for it to get here. Figure out ways to get there. Maybe you get there first, right?
Yeah.
If not, if you're not first, you're at least in line, right? And you're following it. And I never want to play catch up. Sometimes we play catch up, and I think that's I don't think that's uncommon. But as long as we play catch up, learn from it, and figure out how to get ahead, that's what I want to continue to chase. This industry rarely lets you do that. They don't leave you alone. They're always making changes in its regulatory compliance. And so as comfortable as we want to get in there, and as much as, like I said, I want to make meeting compliance a byproduct of what it is that we do, we still have to pay attention to it. But innovation that we can create to allow us to prepare for that, create efficiencies, get ahead, making meeting those measures easier, and creating opportunities for improvement. Ideally, that's what I'm thinking is innovation, right? So it's creativity, always chasing the next best thing.
Yeah. You tied 2 of our core values to this priority of innovation. Mm-hmm. What are those 2 core values?
Drive and teamwork. So you have to have drive if you're going to chase the next best thing. You have to have drive if you want to be a part of creativity, right? A creativity team, bringing new ideas. But you also have to be chasing to the understanding of what's next, and to do that. So it supports that. It supports that core value. And then teamwork. Nobody can do this alone, right? There's not one person that can come up with an idea and implement that idea by themselves. It's going to be encouraging not only individualistic ideas, but then team approaches, right? Looking to use our working genius to create teams that can fill in the gaps and or support strengths, right? To be able to get to that next stage in whatever it is we're chasing, project, innovative, service, reorganizing our structures, the way we operate, all of those things is going to take a team, right? So it's going to go from idea to execution, and that has to encompass drive and it has to encompass teamwork.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say if you're coming up with ideas that really only benefit you, they're probably not the innovative ideas that are going to move our company forward. So teamwork's
Absolutely.
really going to be
Yep.
critical in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so for all you out there that have taken our working genius, we need those wanderers and those inventors to come forward and really help us innovate. And we've got the team to back it up and
Yep.
to drive action on it, but definitely need people that continue to dream and wonder,
Yep.
and then yeah, go from there. Love that. Well, why do you feel innovation is so important in home care right now? You hit on it a little bit when we talked about what the state of the industry may look like in the next 5 or 10 years, but maybe expand upon that a little more.
I think a big part of it is because we have to always figure out how to accomplish the same, if not better, goals, patient outcomes, with less, right? And whether that's less money, whether it's less regulatory measures, less documentation, which we love to change. We're not seeing less documentation. We continue to see more and more changes, which hopefully we can fight it from that end too. But if you want to put it simply, we're looking to create same outcomes, if not better, and become better partners with less money, right? And that's what they want. And it makes sense for sustainability of funds. Certainly, when you're talking about Medicare and Medicaid, insurance companies are not really our friends. We can see that there's some people that get it, some don't. But at the same time, their goal is to make money, right, for their shareholders, for their company. And so we have to live in that world, and that's the world that we have to understand and look to operate. So we have to innovate. We have to innovate our practices. We have to embrace technology, things that we can afford and things that we can easily implement, but things that also will be impactful, things that will make and create change and that are sustainable, right? I'm not looking for the next best AI thing that's going to help us for the next 5 minutes. Some people think there might be an AI bubble, right? And because everything is AI, and at some point in time, it's going to necessarily collapse on itself, but people will disappear. And the true AI support, the true technology, things that will support and create and drive change will stay. And so, how do you find that out? I don't know. That's the trial and error. We have to figure out what's going to be the best for us and what's relevant to our measures. So we have to have a link to innovation. We have to have people that understand that are on board and not scared to practice and experiment with change.
It's great. We talked last time when we were discussing next level leadership about how we really want to encourage people to carve out time within their work schedule to be able to develop as a leader and creating that space for them. Another idea we've talked a lot about around innovation, and we're really just getting started on, is allowing time for people during their workday to innovate and have some creativity time, so to speak, where they can brainstorm ideas and then present those. And we've started seeing more of that with our different committees and having little think tanks and brainstorming sessions. And I think those are only going to become all the more important as time passes.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
very cool. Lastly, on those, and we'll put these on the screen too from your handout, under innovation, you have some bullet points. You want to unpack those briefly for us?
Yeah, so we'll go one at a time. And so to actually kind of continue on what you were saying, as much as we want to create time and opportunity for people to educate themselves on leadership, we want to create time for people to present their ideas, if not brainstorm opportunities for improvement. So the first bullet point, a focused dedication to continuous improvement, encompasses that opportunities to explore creativity, check relevancy, evaluate opportunities that benefit not only our patients, but our company, our relevancy in the future, and our employees.
Yeah.
All of it's on the table. And so the more creativity, the more input we have, the easier it's going to do, the easier it's going to identify how impactful we can do it, or if it's something we can do now, need a table later, we got to get good at that. So that's what that bullet point invites, and we want to establish that expectation, right, for continuous improvement. The next one, for innovation, we want to foster a culture of creativity and experimentation. So if we identify the ideas we feel are going to be good, we feel can be impactful, we want to explore, we need to also create time to experiment with it, right? So you can call it internal pilot projects, you can call it a focus project, whatever we want to. We need to start to bring those to life, right? good ideas. And so we do that periodically with ideas and things we have. And yes, it's disruptive. Yes, it's changed. It's usually for the better, and not all of them have been winners. But the more input we have in evaluation, the easier the process is going to get, right? And so every idea and every creative suggestion that comes to the table, we may not jump on it, right? But you should know why, or maybe not right now. It could drive us into a piece of it, right? To progress that way. I don't know. Speaking out of all kind of optimistic expectations here, but I'm excited to see that start. The next one is provide an opportunity for each employee to be active in innovation. A little bit of repetitive, but really kind of supportive of the first one is we want you to be comfortable. If you want to be a part of it, then let's create this opportunity to do it. Let's have some working sessions with it, right? Let's have some brainstorming sessions. Let's make them relevant, not a waste of time, right? Let's do it with purpose, intent, and expected outcomes. But let's start to create those, and let's find who wants to be a part of them and make those a standard practice of our company. And then the last one is to expand telehealth services to improve our value-based care model development. That one's already, that one's already in practice, where we're taking value-based model approach, certainly in our PAS, our attendance services. They want positive clinical outcomes with non-clinical staff. And so we have a challenge of how we would accomplish that. And I think we performed fairly well, but the implementation of RPM helps with that. And that being a supported reimbursement model through Medicaid that brings an extra service to a patient population that has very little available to them, helps us continue to keep eyes on them, helps us to actually create clinical interventions when needed, and all based upon basic vital signs, right? Blood glucose levels and blood pressure. Very basic implementation of technology in practice, but new to us. And it can change, right? It can change how we, like I said, keep our eyes on these patients, how we create interventions, and how we communicate with their physicians, with the care team. Big goal is to bring them a part of it, but then also make the patient a part of it. How can they play a role to implement and manage this? So not a new concept, a new practice for us, but the expectation of outcomes is going to be huge. And then what's next, right? What other telehealth practices can we get into? Can we create that can be supported in the home that can continue to drive outcomes? So always on the lookout for what's next and questioning our ability to be a part of that. So that's a little explanation of what those mean.
That's a great synopsis. And what I'm hearing out of all of that is it's going to take everyone at Caprock to be a part of this innovation.
Yep.
I think a lot of times people think, well, the innovative ideas are for the leaders at the top, and they'll come up with the game plan and make everybody else do it. And what we found is really our frontline people that are in the homes most oftentimes have the best innovative ideas.
Absolutely.
It's just getting y'all to share them with us. So
yeah, we need you guys to save us from ourselves. We try to come up with the ideas, and that's what we're tasked with. But we don't know everything, right? And some are great, and some might not be.
Yeah.
But whether we test them or whether we get feedback, we want to enhance that practice, but take it to the next step of somebody else bringing it to the table, letting us know what they want to try. And again, as always, you bring to the table, I'm going to ask you to participate. I want you to be a part of it as your idea, and as long as we feel it's relevant to our mission and our purpose, and it's feasible, right, for us to put into practice or at least to trial, I want to do it. I want to start getting into that and figuring it out.
Yeah, it's exciting. Exciting time to be at Caprock and in home care. And again, innovation is going to help move us forward with all the technology changes that are going to be required for us to succeed in this industry. So, man, we covered a lot again today. We unpacked the ideal team player assessment a little more. Thank you for sharing your personal insights from that, and curious to see as we go along what you learn, what you apply to developing those areas that maybe weren't as high as you wanted, but also continuing to push forward with the hungry piece and empowering people on our team to drive and thrive. So that's going to be awesome. Any final thoughts as we wrap today on this topic of innovation?
Man, as much as I feel like we understand where it's going and the role that innovation is going to play, as much as I know, there's more that I don't know, right? So again, anything that you guys here bring to the table, we're trying to stay as connected as possible. We're trying to read and understand where industry's going, what our community partners are dealing with, trying to create some more strategic partnerships with them to maybe not only build business, but understand what their gaps might be now and for the future to guide where we're going, because those are partnerships we need to enhance, but we don't need to just take care of their patients. We need to provide them a solution, and we need to provide a collaborative solution with them, and how this team can create positive outcomes up and down, right? The necessity tree for any of these patients. So there'll be more to come, right? We'll always be focusing on that. We'll always be finding the next best thing, comparing its relevancy. So please, as you learn it, share with us.
You heard the man himself asking for these ideas, so his door's always open, his inbox is open, his phone. So please reach out with the ideas. We've got to have them from y'all to move this company forward.
Absolutely.
You hit on the quote earlier, but what got us here won't get us there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really great takeaway to focus on. And my challenge to everyone listening would be, how are you innovating, both personally and professionally?
Yeah.
If you're not, time to start thinking about that,
Yep,
to stay relevant and help yourself succeed, but also help us succeed as a company.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the time today, Carlos.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Enjoy this.
It's been great. Next episode, we're going to unpack priority number 3, which is extreme ownership. So looking forward to discussing that. That's a topic that's near and dear to your heart.
It
Looking
is.
forward to learning more about that.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll wrap, and we'll see you next time on the Caprock Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
See y'all.